Michael Hernandez here, MLH Media, and I'm here alongside a very special guest to the program, a man that has joined me before, Mr. Bedtime MMA over there
Yo,
on the other side of the country. I mean, on the other side of the world, my bad. Wish
yeah,
he was
man.
on
I
the
was
other
about to
side of the
say,
country.
shit, bro. I'm further away than that, man.
Hey, no, but hey, great to have you on the program, man. How you been, man? Been a long time since we last
I
got to
know,
hear you
bro. I've
on
grown
and
a
got.
mustache since then, so it's been a really long time, man. But yeah, no, it's good to be back. I'm chilling. I'm blowing up. I'm getting to the point that I'm gonna switch up on all of my day ones, you included. So, it's good to be here before that happens. But nah, man, I'm going good, bro. I'm chilling.
It's good to know that I'm getting that last video call in before you do
Yeah,
eventually go ahead and
yeah,
switch
yeah,
up
yeah.
on one of the.
We're
And it's
gonna up
got to
the fee
know.
next time. Next time it's gonna be a paid fee. My managers are gonna be in the middle, but right now we're still humble. We're still
I'm
chilling,
just
man.
gonna get a like random DM back that's like, "Thank you for DMing Bedtime
Yeah,
MMA. We will
just a
get back
bot.
to you
Yeah,
within the business hours of 7 a.m.
yeah,
and
dude.
9 p.m. on
Yeah, bro.
days ending in Y." But no, it's great to have you on, man. Like how you said, you've been having a ton of success with the channel. I mean, we got to speak a little bit about it last time. I think a lot of people really found enjoyment in it, but you really found a cultivation and a way to like really garner an audience over there on MMA YouTube, which is a hard thing to do. Not everybody's been
Mm.
able to do it. Not everybody's been able to stay consistent with it. What do you feel like now that I mean, you're a couple years in now, has been the true cultivator to your success on the channel, and obviously is now you're almost on the road to 100K, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty hard to put my finger on. Like, I think if you ask anybody that has any sort of like, even you have like a pretty good like following as well. Like, you don't know any one singular thing that you did or that you're doing that's the reason. I feel like, I don't know. I think I'm just, people like, you don't have to agree with me or disagree with me. I think it's just, people can tell I'm just like a fan. I care about the sport. I would try and just make it fun and not take it too seriously. So I don't know. I guess people, it's always that if they find somebody that they can relate to, then they're gonna be into it. And I think other people just see what's going on and jump on as well. Even if they don't like it, they'll just check it out, and that just boosts it to more people. But I never look at it from just like, am I getting subscribers or views or whatever. I just more like genuinely, like, I know it sounds like bullshit, but like, I genuinely just try and make videos that I think people will like enjoy. Like, they'll think it's funny, or like if I think it's funny, like I won't just make stuff just to make it. I'll make it because I'm like, this is a good idea, this is funny, this is a cool video, this is a good breakdown, whatever it is. Like, this is what I think of this fight. That's all I try and do. So I'm glad that it's working decently well. That's pretty good.
I know this may be a little bit of a UFC reporter-esque question, but I just got to ask it, man,
What's
because
it
I
like
mean,
being
your
in
ability.
Vegas? Well, I'm glad you asked. Yeah.
No, but I was gonna ask, man. I mean, your ability to pump out content, like how I said, you're doing it consistently daily. You're probably, I would say, in terms of YouTubers, you got some of the more abstract ideas. You're able to kind of start a lot of those trends. How do you kind of come up with those trends, though? Is it like, are you using AI? Like, is there something that is kind of in the secret cookbook for Mr. Bedtime
Yeah, bro.
MMA,
So
man? Because
yeah, so
some of
I
these
hit up.
video ideas, I'm like, what the hell? Like, how is
Yeah,
this guy
man.
coming
So
up with
so
this?
basically, I hit up the ghostwriters. I hit them up via email, and then they get back to me, and we kind of work. I don't know, like some of the shit is just like, some of them it is like, I look at the start of my week and I plan out like the days that I want to do a video, the days that I'm gonna be like, no, I don't feel like doing a video. I've got training or something, like a 2 a day or something. But with the more like popular ones, like the tier list that have done really well, some of it is like workshopping. Like, it is like, I'll write down a couple of jokes that I think are funny, and then I'll think about how many people can I add to this. If I only have like 3 or 4 jokes for like 3 or 4 fighters, I'm not gonna make a full video. I might just be like, oh, I'll stick those into these videos here. But if I get an idea and then I start flowing, I'm like, oh my god, this would be funny, this would be funny. Then that's just usually how it turns into like a tier list of like UFC fighters as police officers or some shit like that. Like the classics that we've been working on. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, most of the time it's just like off the dome, or like a joke that me and my friends have in the gym, and then I just go, that'd be a funny video. Like, I don't want to stand there with them and make all the jokes for like 20 minutes. So I'm like, we've made one joke, I'm gonna go home and make all of these into a video. So that's how I do it.
I think there was a comedian one time, he said like he would be kicking it with his comedian friends, or he'd be having like lunch with some of his like friends, just regular friends, and he'd be like, "Wait, guys, like stop talking about this because like I'm gonna use it in a special. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll go ahead and make some money off this." So
But yeah,
no,
I
it
do that all the
definitely
time. I
is.
steal so many jokes from my friends. I steal so many impressions from my friends. Me and my friends, like, you think I have like stims? Like, I do all the bro. Me and my friends will literally watch a movie, and we'll talk about like Leon Edwards if he was in the movie or some shit like that. Like, we just go off, like, riff on all that, and then boom, that usually leads to an idea. I definitely steal from my friends for sure. They know this. They always message me like, bro, you used my joke in the video. I'm like, yeah, man, I got you.
By the way, checking out movies, Smashing Machine, has it came out over there
Yeah, bro. I
in
watched I
Australia
watched
yet?
it like I forced my girlfriend to come watch it with me. She didn't really get half of it, but I was like, yo, oh my god.
You're like, Dwayne The Rock, that's
Yeah,
him,
no,
that's him.
no, I was like, oh my god, that's not Mark Coleman, that's Ryan Bader. She's like, who the fuck is that? I'm like, bro, trust me, that's we don't like Ryan
You're
Bader.
like, she don't know ball, bro.
Yeah, bro. I was like, bro, you know, if you're a DC fan, you would know who that is, bro.
That is
Yeah,
pretty cool that you were able to go ahead and, I mean, putting your girlfriend onto a little bit of a different genre. And obviously, I still got to go ahead and check out the Smashing Machine. So you beat me to it. But talking a little bit about just in general what that movie is about, UFC, big pay per view going down this past weekend over there, UFC 320. And I mean, I would probably start. I mean, the prelims are pretty interesting. The early prelims might add. But I mean, the prelims going into that main card were just absolutely insane. They started off with Andre
mm,
Muniz and Edmund Shabazian. Edmund Shabazian getting the finish over there. I mean, that was kind of a thing that I feel a lot of people, and much including yourself, kind of were projecting. But the Patchy Mix and Jakob Wuklitz fight, like, let's just talk about that because I know you were somebody that's very passionate on the Patchy Mix train,
yeah,
and I'm
man.
somebody that had Patchy Mix winning that fight. But after watching it back, Jakob Wuklitz really did take that one away. You watching it back, you watching it live, what was your opinion? As I know you're somebody that definitely loves yourself a little bit of Patchy Mix.
I don't listen. I'm not this Patchy Mix super fan. Like, I just thought, like, bro, he's gonna beat this random guy. Don't try and make me out to be this Patchy Mix super fan. Like, okay, people told me this guy's really good, so I picked him to beat Mario Batista. He lost that fight, and I'm like, okay, that's not a bad loss to Mario Batista. It's just like short notice. He looked like he had been in some sort of like accident before that fight. Like, I don't know what he was doing in that fight, but then the Viklach fight. I'm sorry, I thought he won that fight. Like, I'm not saying he like dominated, he got robbed. It was a very close fight. Viklach did a great job with the guillotine attempts to kind of neutralize the grappling, and he kind of stole those exchanges with those guillotines. And on the feet, I feel like Patchy Mix actually pressured him like pretty well in round 2 and 3. Obviously, he clearly won round 3. But yeah, like I thought Patchy Mix won round 2 and round 3. Like round 2 was super close. I'm not saying it was a robbery, but I felt like he won that fight at that moment, and I was a little bit like I wasn't like my boy Patchy Mix lost, but just more like, damn, that's tough for him, man. You know?
And it was definitely one of those fights where it could have really, like, depending on, they always say, depending on what three judges come in that day, it really does
Yeah.
depend on how you're
So
going
who
to be
did
able
you
to.
did you think Patchy Mix lost that fight when you watched it live?
I was going to say, I watched it live, but I watched it live in clips. And then I
Yeah.
watched it back again on the, can't be saying where I watched it. But we did watch it back again. And I was just, I mean, in between the guillotine attempts and then, of course, just the offense on the feet with Patchy Mix's eye. I didn't
Yeah.
really think a lot of Patchy Mix's punches were doing too much damage. And then I
Yeah.
feel like Patchy's resistance to want to strike on the feet. Like there's just so many moments where it felt like I texted my buddy because I was watching it back. I'm like, this dude just disconnected his controller and decided like,
Yeah.
oh crap, I got to turn it back on really quick. And then he's like throw a couple punches and it was super frustrating to watch. So it's like, that's where I understand where a lot of people say Patchy won because the moments he did have were super strong. But the
Mm.
moments that Jakob had, I feel like were just overall better. I don't know if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, it's kind of like getting
It's
like a
yeah.
B on your paper and then getting a C on your paper, but your teacher's like, dude, the intro was super good, but the body
Yeah.
was terrible. Intro and conclusion, amazing. The body
Yeah.
was terrible. That's kind of Patchy Mix.
That sounds like Patchy Mix's entire fucking UFC run right now, man. Like that I don't know what has happened to this man. Like you saw these fights that he had in PFL and in Bellator, right? Like I saw these fights. I feel like I'm crazy talking in these videos. Like Patchy Mix has good guillotine, he has good grappling, and then he goes in these fights and he's just
I feel like the guy at the bar that like talks about these dudes that like, like you're like, nah, man, this guy was really the dude.
yo,
And
this
it
guy's
was like,
next up. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I that's how I feel about Patrick Mix because
Man.
even my younger brother, would contact me or like just some of my friends that don't really watch MMA so
Yeah.
much as to UFC, and they're like, "Hey, what's up with this Patrick Mix guy?" And I had him beating Mario Batista. I thought he's way more of a
Yeah.
diverse skill set. I thought overall he would beat him, but obviously I was proven wrong by that, and I'm proven wrong again with this. Who knows? Jakob Wuklitz could be like a huge talent in the UFC, and I know he was pretty good from his KSW days. I knew he
Mm.
was decent, at least like within the top 20, top 15. But to beat
Yeah.
Patchy Mix, it's either Patchy Mix is absolutely not at UFC level, or Patchy Mix is just one of those guys that kind of is a top 15 kind of gatekeeper. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Somebody like
yeah.
Chris Gutierrez, that's kind of guy.
I
Somebody
think
that's
we
which
need
is
to
absolutely
see.
insane to
Yeah,
think.
I think the only way to find that out is like you have to match him up against somebody that's like a big step down. Like Viklash is not an easy fight. Like I think that losing to in a vacuum, like if you just look at his resume, just losing to Batista and Viklash, it's like it's not that bad. Like I wouldn't hold that against someone else if they weren't hyped up as like, you've got these fucking fake hardcores being like, dude, Patchy Mix is the best bantamweight on planet Earth before he came into the UFC. I think that's why people are so shocked and almost like so critical of everything that he does is because coming in, like you saw this, people were glazing the fuck out. People were acting like this guy's like the next champion of the division. He beats all these guys. I think if you matched him up against someone like, I don't want to like maybe like Cody Garbrandt or like I don't know somebody like that's has some name value but that's like clearly declined. I think that would be a good way to know where does he actually stack up. But yeah, it's tricky, bro. I feel bad, bro, because this is 2 times now that he's got me. This is 2 times that he's actually gaslit me into picking him.
He's ruining the parlays, man. He's ruining these
Oh
pay-per-view
my god,
parlays for
man,
you.
dude. No, the one that sold so bad was Vanderford. Vanderford versus Brahimaj,
Yes,
dude.
fan.
I saw so many people in the comments being like, "Well, there goes my parlay."
And it was funny. I seen, oh my gosh, Corey's Corner. She kind of does some Instagram content and such,
Yeah,
and I seen her pick against Vanderford, and I was like, man, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
I feel like Vanderford should get this one done. And then
I
what
knew
do
it
you
was gonna
know?
be a
She
close fight,
always,
but yeah, like that guillotine was that. Like I was worried about that
yeah.
when I was watching. I was like, "Oh man, that guillotine is scaring me, bro."
Another big performance that I really like. I found. I mean, obviously, we kind of knew Atiba Gutierrez was going to dominate coming into
This was
UFC
a great.
320.
This was a
Even,
funny
but
ass fight. I loved
Trey
this
Stone
fight, dude.
Vines. I've never seen another human being kind of go out that way. And just
Bro,
the
we
way
were.
that it all happened, that's just credit to Ateba
Yeah,
Gutierrez, in my opinion. Like, that's an absolute insane finish.
dude. Me and my mates were literally laughing in the gym about that yesterday. About the I don't know what happened to him. I'm not an expert on like physiology or whatever it is, but it genuinely looked like he got like electrocuted when he went for the takedown and Atiba Gauthier just framed off his face. He just went stiff and I don't know what happened. I'd love to find out what happened in that moment, but that's just like Atiba Gauthier, he just has that aura of like he's going to be a big deal. I think that just obviously you could see that Vines was like petrified to be in there with him. Like I think that was it was like I don't know. Obviously, I'm impressed by Thibaut Gauthier. I think that his other wins in the UFC, I was very like, damn, this guy's really good. This guy's powerful. That fight to me, I was a bit disappointed, just based on the fact that we all knew he was going to win, but I would have liked to see him get an actual finish. I would have liked to see him fight someone actually trying to like get after him, even if they knew they were going to lose. Just someone that's like, I'm going to try and just take this guy down or chin this guy, whatever it is. But yeah, it was a like bro, he's a problem. He's gonna be a
If
future
it was
like
just me, I
contender,
feel
bro.
like Ateba Gutierrez for that weight class is absolutely humongous. Like,
Bro, he's
compared to
ginormous, bro.
Vines
He's
in the
so
cage
wide.
is
Yeah.
absolutely
Oh my god.
like, I would not want to, like, when he shot, when Veen shot, I was like, that is not what I would want to be doing on that guy. Like, that
Oh
wide of a base, trying to get your
yeah.
hands around is not a good time. And then
And
with
he
those
shot from
elbows
so
raining
far away
down,
too. Like yeah, he was. I felt for it. I understood why. I said that he fought like really scared and all that. I totally get it. I would be exactly the same. I would be like, yo, let me fake an injury, Loki or something. Like, bro, you just like that's a scary ass dude. Like, I get it, but yeah, I would love to see. I was said in my video after. I'd love to see him fight someone that's like experienced. That's not like a huge step up in competition skill wise that I think he can't beat, but somebody tough, somebody that's like, okay, I'm gonna actually try and beat this guy. I think that would be really cool to see.
and now, I mean, just going into the main card a little bit, obviously there were some big winners in terms of opening up the main card. Joe Pyfer was able to get done against Abus Magomedov, and then Yusuf Zalal kind of had the silencer of the night in terms of finishes. He was able to go ahead and get that. It was a very interesting finish against Josh Emmett,
Yeah.
and as somebody that has known Josh Emmett for a while, has seen Josh Emmett's performances, I don't know, it just seemed like he kind of had a bit of an off night in there. I don't know where exactly it came from, but it just seemed like it was Yusuf Zalal's best night in terms of performances. And I feel like now kind of puts him in a very interesting spot. And you talked about it a little bit in your video, because it's like, who does he really fight? Like, I mean, in
Yeah.
terms of, he's like the Arnold Allens of the world. Does he go up and does, like, who do you give Yusuf Zalal at this moment? And it's so interesting, especially with that fight against Taporia raining in his background. It's a very interesting kind of set of circumstance for Yusuf Zalal.
It reminds me of Lopez with like Evloev, like when he debuted against Evloev and he lost, and then he kind of went on this run through the division, and then he kind of got back up to the top of the division, and now that's a fight that people want to see. I don't think Yusuf Zalal versus Ilya is ever going to be a thing, but I think Yusuf Zalal with the Josh Emmett win, now you can put him against someone top 5. Like, I'd love to see him get a fight in front of a crowd again. Like, even if he gets booed, I think that's great. I think that's better than the crowd just having no reaction to you. Like, they don't care whatsoever. You know, they're just like, oh yeah, is this guy on my parlay or not? Like, if people actually hate you, like Mario Batista, Ian Gary, that's good. That's entertaining. Like, I enjoy that as a fan. Even John Jones, I'm like rooting against this guy every single fight. So I think Yusuf Zalal, he's got something with this heel persona. He needs to just embrace it. He needs to just stink it up more. He's like the finish against Josh. It was a very impressive win, but I was just blown away by like the crowd had no reaction to the finish. They were just booing him. I think it was because
It was very
maybe
weird.
they didn't see
like,
maybe they didn't see the tap, and that's why they booed. Somebody messaged me and said I was there. We were booing because we didn't see the tap. We thought it got stopped early, but it was crazy. Yeah, like the crowd literally during a finish usually is like freaking out regardless of who it is, but they were just almost like, oh, okay. Boo, you know, like it was crazy.
No, it was a very interesting kind of set of circumstances with that whole finish and overall with that fight. Like, cause like how you said, it just almost seems like the fans took like a little bit of an intermission in terms of
Yeah.
where they were. And like, even with the post-fight interview, I feel like Yusuf, like you even mentioned it, did very well in terms of the call out. Like, I mean, he kept
Bro,
it very
he tried his ass. He tried so hard to
straight
get
down
like
the
the
middle.
crowd back on his side. He was trying so hard to get him back on his side. Like, he shouted out Diego Lopez. He shouted out Josh Emmett. Like, he was super respectful. He's super humble. He seems like a nice guy. But I think the crowd has just made
Yusuf's
their mind
super
up.
cool.
Yeah,
He's
I think
super
the crowd's
cool,
just made their mind up. They hate him. I think they've just made their mind up. We're going to boo this guy until he, you know, knocks somebody out cold, or I don't know, whatever it is. I think it might be one of those things like Lerone Murphy, where once he gets a really big knockout finish, then the crowd will be like, all right, this guy, like, we got to take this guy seriously. But I think he should fight like Yair Rodriguez, honestly. I think that's a fight that I said to make. I think that's realistic because Yair won't fight Lopez. It seems like they're just not trying to do that fight. I think Yair versus Zalal would be super entertaining. I think that'd be a good fight to get like some hype on his name, like an exciting matchup. If you beat Yair Rodriguez, you know, you can't be denied. Like Josh Emmett, people will just be like, oh yeah, it's not even a big deal. Even though that's a crazy win. Like, you saw the reaction from the crowd of the fans. No one's acting like this is a good win. Like, people are just like, oh, whatever. I think beating Yair Rodriguez, even if it's by decision, people are going to be like, well, you know, we can't deny this guy. Like, he deserves a title shot, you know?
Well, the most interesting thing I find about like and everything that you said, which I agree with as well, with the whole Yair Rodriguez situation, a lot of people put so much hype into Yair Rodriguez winning a championship, being a champion for the UFC, which obviously credits to him for winning that belt. That's obviously a huge accomplishment. I'm not hating on that. But who was his title win against?
Yeah, it was Josh Emmett by submission.
Josh Emmett.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
you know, and exactly.
Bro, he
so
got a custom belt. He got a custom belt for beating Josh Emmett, bro.
And that's not a hateful thing towards Josh Emmett at all. Like,
nah.
My thing is like, if we're gonna give Yair the credit, we got to give Yusuf Zalal the credit.
Yeah.
So it's like this weird kind of thing with UFC fans where they have this like really short-term memory, and it's like, what have you done for me lately? Even though you could do something for them, they still don't care.
But I think they just have like narratives set in their mind, right? Like, I think UFC fans, once they have a label on you as like, you're boring. A great example of this in the same division, Movsar Evloev. He's boring. We hate Evloev. He's boring. Regardless of what you think about him personally and some of the things that he's said and done, I'm not talking about that. Just as a fighter, the fight against Lopez is a banger. The fight against Arnold Allen is a banger. The fight against Aljo is a banger. Like, I think Evloev is like one of the most entertaining fighters to watch in terms of like, he has these crazy scrambles. He's super high level. He has good boxing. He kind of gets put in danger a lot of time in fights, and he has to survive. Like, I think Evloev is just labeled as like boring Dagestani wrestler, when I feel like he has some of the best fights from that type of, you know, wrestling fighting style. I think that's an example of like, once a fan decides you're boring or they decide you're entertaining, it doesn't really matter what you do. If you just win, they're going to be like, yeah, this guy's so exciting, or this guy's so boring.
It kind of reminds me of the same narrative like behind Gamrot. A lot of people have this narrative that Gamrot's such a boring fighter. And I'm like, if you look back at a lot of Gamrot's fights, I mean, even the fights that he has lost, like, I mean, he's fought Beneil Dariush, he's fought I'm
That fight was
blanking out on
sick.
names right now at the moment,
Armin
but
fight was
like
great. The Armin fight
he's
was
fought the
great.
Armin fight, and like
Yeah.
there's so many of his fights where I'm like, dude, he has great scrambles. He's willing to get in firefights on the feet. It's almost like he's like a more willing to grapple kind of Dustin Poirier type
Even
style.
the Dan
So it's
Hooker fight was great. I think
that
Gamrot's
was
super
who I was
entertaining.
missing.
Yeah.
That's what I was missing, the Dan Hooker fight. But speaking a little
And
bit more about,
bro,
well, my apologies.
last thing I'll say about on this narrative thing, the flip side of that, someone that people say is super entertaining, Shavkat. Ian Gary fight's boring as fuck. No, everyone blames Ian Gary. None of it's on Shavkat, even though he turned into Mario Batista in that fight. That to me is an example of like once you have a label, they'll just defend it no matter what.
I mean, even too with Khabib, like everybody has this
Yeah.
world classic thing of Khabib, but if you go back and you put on a Khabib fight, I guarantee you any casual MMA fan will go ahead and walk up out of the room. But speaking
Yeah.
about Merab and Alex Pereira, to kind of going along that GOAT conversation of the Khabibs, I mean, I feel like watching this card this past weekend was almost like a passing of the torch. It really was, because we're seeing Merab, who's starting to stack up these type of defenses. He's really starting to build this argument as the bantamweight GOAT, almost possibly going to move up to the featherweight kind of title spot. Maybe it's kind of been a rumor and been circulating, but obviously the whole Volk fight situation's been a little murky waters. And then Alex Pereira obviously called out John Jones after he wants his reign at heavyweight. Do you feel if Merab or if Alex Pereira are able to go ahead and go up in weight and go ahead and make that successful exchange of titles, say Merab is able to go ahead and beat Volk and become the 145 champ, Alex Pereira is able to go ahead and beat John Jones and become the heavyweight champ? I know you just grimaced your face at the fact of an Australian losing to Merab, but
Bro, Volk's not losing to fucking Merab, dude.
Walk with me here. We're on the world here where this happens. Do you feel Merab or Alex Pereira is possibly the greatest of all time after one of those wins?
I think it's just one thing that's so cool about the UFC right now, and people glaze like 2011, like, oh my god, the champions were so good. I feel like we're living in a better skill-wise era right now because we have like 5 or 6 people that genuinely are on the verge of being the GOAT of the sport. Like if Islam Makhachev beats JDM and becomes welterweight champion, I'm wearing the JDM shirt right now. That's not going to happen, but if that somehow happens, like this kid flukes a DAS choke on JDM, whatever, becomes welterweight champion, defends the belt, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT of the sport. If Ilia Topuria, defends his belt 1 or 2 more times and then beats Islam Makhachev or something like that, he has an argument for being the GOAT of the sport when you look at his resume, right? If Pereira goes up, beats Jones and Aspinall, obviously people will say he's the GOAT, right? The people are trying to put this guy top 5 for beating Khalil Roundtree before the Ankalaev fights. And I think the Ankalaev fight that he got on the weekend is the best legacy win that he has when you look at his title defenses. Like, I think beating Adesanya obviously boosted his career so much. The Yuri Prohaska wins are aging really well. Blachowicz fight's like an underrated win. But beating like Ankalaev when he's on a 14-fight win streak and he already beat you and he's the champion, and honestly making him have one of the, like, honestly the worst championship performance I've ever seen. Like, Pereira genuinely melted Ankalaev so bad. Like, I was talking to my boys about this yesterday. If people hate on like Bilal or Merab, if they got dropped with that right hand, I guarantee you they would not have just like laid there and just covered up. Like, that's how bad Pereira did this dude. Like, he actually just destroyed him. And that's a crazy win. That's a crazy accomplishment. So I think,
what somebody pointed out to me too was even with Pereira's style coming out of the fight, like just straight up, just out, like as soon as the bell rang, he had no respect at all for Ankalaev's distance. And he just straight up, I mean, I think the first punch he throws is just like kind of like almost like a Superman-esque jab. And he just charges Ankalaev into the fence. It really just goes to show that skill gap. I mean, Pereira mentioned it, but obviously a lot of fighters mentioned, oh, I was hurt during that first fight, yada, yada, yada. I mean,
that's
really,
the only
like
one that I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe he was telling the truth. Like, yeah, because I never go for those excuses. I never like that because you can point to so many fighters that they had like a terrible training camp, they're injured. Pereira's done it before. Like, he's been sick and injured and stuff and won fights. So I don't like when that's like a narrative from the fans in terms of predicting fights, but they were right about that one. Like the rematch, it was a big factor. Like it was like, shit, maybe he was really, really sick. Like, damn, so.
No, 100%. That one, like, I'm very much along the same lines as you. It's like, I mean, a lot of guys, that's oftentimes the kind of scapegoat they want to use. And in a sport like MMA where you are getting hurt so often, and
everyone's sick, you're always injured. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those things where it's like, well, it's an obvious kind of thing that's surrounding the situation. But with Pereira, obviously, was a lot more crucial than what we may have thought. But speaking about this next upcoming pay-per-view, we obviously have some really good cards in between that. You're going to be talking with the guys over there in terms of Lucas Tracy, MMA Guru, going to be doing the UFC Vancouver card.
I've got a suit ready.
Ahead,
I've got a suit ready. I got a suit ready for that. I'm going to be rocking.
Can we get a preview of the suit? Where's the suit at,
I've got
man?
it. It's in my closet. It's like, you know, in Spider-Man 2 when he has like the suit there and then the Spider-Man cut. It's in there. It's in there right now. But we're gonna, you know, that goes next to my JDM shirt. Those are my two main attires. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a big. I'm genuinely so excited for this. Yesterday, when the announcement got posted, I just started shadowboxing. I was getting so excited. So it's gonna be cool. I think it's gonna be a big thing for the game. I don't know if it's gonna work out super like smoothly. It might be a bit of a shit show, but I think it'll be super entertaining. And I think if it goes well, this will become like a once in a while, somewhat regular thing. Not like every pay-per-view, not like every month, but the goal is, if it goes well, you know, we want to do it every like 2 or 3 months and for a big card so that people have something like as an alternative. Because we were talking about this before we started recording. Like, I think sometimes people genuinely get sick of the UFC commentary and just how biased it can be, and just maybe sometimes that it's just the same things again and again and again, just talking about the calf kicks and the steel cups and you know, all that stuff. Like, maybe people just want a different perspective of like fans. I train, I compete, but you know, Guru and Lucas, they have totally different views of the sport, and I think that contrast is so cool, and it's such a novelty. Like, I don't think people ever thought we were gonna actually do this shit. So I'm hyped, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Guru may get you guys off air.
Yeah,
Lucas is gonna be talking about those meaty hooks.
Yeah,
like, you know, you guys are gonna be having a great time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude, it's gonna be good.
Speaking about this last quarter of fights, because like how you say, we were talking a little bit before we obviously hopped on, started recording, and I mean, this last quarter, they really, UFC just stepped up the flavor, went ahead,
Finally
threw the whole pot, threw the whole kitchen pot out, man. And we got a great main event over there for the Abu Dhabi card. I believe it's going to be over there, Abu Dhabi, yes, or United Arab Emirates, the UFC 321 card, Aspinall versus Gane. Who do you got in that one? I mean, overall, what are some of your fights that you're most looking forward to in this kind of last quarter of 2025 before we possibly kick off the year with Gaethje versus Topuria?
Yeah, that's looking like what it's gonna be in January, dude. The rest in peace, Gaethje.
Yeah.
Well, God bless you, brother. It was nice knowing you. But yeah, no, that's just, he's cooked, bro. I'm looking forward to Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker. That's like the fight that I'm really, really excited for. I wish we were getting a Paddy Pimblett fight before the end of the year. I love Paddy the Baddy, but Arman Tsarukyan is my like my favorite 3 lightweights are Arman, Paddy, and Max Holloway. So seeing Arman finally come back, like, I think he's gonna beat Dan Hooker, but it's such a good matchup because there's beef there. It makes sense in the rankings. You know, the matchup is super interesting. Like, Dan Hooker's going to make Arman Tsarukyan have to either finish him, or he'll probably get finished if he can't finish Dan Hooker and he starts to slow down. So I really like that fight. I think that has everything that we want from a main event. That's all that I asked for from the UFC for a big main event, is that, does it matter to the division? It's a number 1 contender fight. Do they have beef? Is there something interesting to it? Boom, that's there, you know. And is the matchup itself high level? Yes. So that to me is like the most anticipated. I think like going into the end of the year, JDM Islam, come on, dude. That's the fight. I'm so excited for that. Even on like a smaller level, I'm excited for like what's happening this week. Bro, the Vancouver card, bro. Even like Davey Grant versus Charles Jourdain. I'm excited for that. They got everything popping right now. Like, the end of the year, I love complaining about the matchmaking, but right now, end of the year, except for those 2 cards in November in the Apex with just random main events of like David Onama versus Steve Garcia. Like, that's a decent fight, but that's kind of a drop off in terms of main event quality. But otherwise, I can't complain. I'm looking forward to all these cards going through the end of the year.
No, and like how you stated, even this upcoming UFC Vancouver card that they have coming up, I mean, it's Marlon Vera over there, Zahavi. That's bound to be a pretty decent
a good fight.
Marlon Vera always comes out to scrap. Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott. I actually really like that co-main event for whatever reason. I feel like Mike Malott has a tendency to kind of get a little bit sloppy in fights, and that's exactly the type of game that Kevin Holland loves to play
I really could see that going either way.
It really could go either way. It really can go either way.
Yeah.
But speaking about some fights that I know you were speaking about, you know, maybe excited about a little bit on the shorter end, but you know, you're also still looking out a little bit for him. Is possibly Dern versus John Jaroba another fight that you're looking out for? I mean, the first one,
I can't wait, bro. I can't wait, dude. That's the real main event of 321. No one really cares about Aspinall versus Gane. Like, we all know that Aspinall's gonna win. The real main event is Dern versus John Jaroba. I can't wait, dude. I'll be dropping a 30-minute video about that fight.
unironically enough, I know people make their jokes about women's MMA. I really do feel like that fight does have a ton of potential to be one of the best women's MMA fights we've seen in
I
quite
think
some
the
time,
problem with that fight
considering the
is like,
skill.
yeah, it has the potential. I agree. I think like no joke, all jokes aside, I think just based on these two being like the best grapplers at women's strawweight, except for like Tatiana Suarez and Weili Zhang, but they're both out of the title picture now. I think like there could be good, entertaining scramble, especially for me. I'm like a jujitsu nerd. Like I train jujitsu. I love jujitsu. You're the same. You know what I mean? Like for us, it's like, okay, this could actually be kind of good. But it also like I just can't shake the fact that these WMMA main events sometimes they just have the potential to stall out so bad. Like they just end up in full guard. They just end up on the feet, kind of just doing nothing. You know what I mean? I don't think that'll happen in this fight. I do think there will be a finish either way. But in the meantime, like I can see it going like 4 rounds of just like full guard, like, oh, she passed a half guard. You know, and Joe Rogan's trying to be like, this is super high level, man. This is insane stuff. You know what I could definitely see that
He won't be
happening.
commentating that card. It's gonna be over
Oh,
there on the
okay.
other
Thank
side of the
goodness.
country,
Oh,
man.
thank the Lord.
Other
Thank
side
the
of the
Lord. So
world,
it'll be
man.
DC being like, this is super high level stuff, man. But yeah, I think before that, like after that, there could be a finish. Like it's tricky. Yeah, like, I want to be hyped for it. I want to be positive.
Is there any potential fights? I know, obviously, Mario Batista is going to be coming up on this end
That's
on
a good
this
fight,
upcoming
dude.
pay-per-view.
Yeah, Batista,
You know,
Nurmagomedov. That's a good fight.
is there any fights that you're possibly looking at that a lot of fans may not be looking at with star-studded eyes, but you're looking at and you're like, hey, this is kind of like how we were just talking about with the Dern versus John Joruba fight, has the potential
Yeah.
to possibly bring out a lot of people and kind of get the MMA fan base a little bit more diversified.
I don't know, man. I'm trying to think like upcoming fights that people aren't really talking about. I mean, I'm excited for Rainier Derrida versus Brendan Allen. I know that people are disappointed that Anthony Hernandez. We were just talking about that. We love Fluffy. I wanted him to win that fight and get a title shot, but hopefully now that he's had this cancellation, I don't know how serious the injury is, but hopefully that leads to him versus Sean Strickland. I think that's a really interesting fight. But I'm cool with Brendan Allen, Rainier Derrida. That's a goofball matchup. That's two of the goofiest dudes in the middleweight division scrapping. So I'm excited for that main event. I know people are not as excited about it. I'm not trying to be a fake hardcore. I like that fight. I wanted to see that fight when RDR showed up in the UFC. I manifested this, in the words of Izzy. I manifested this. I'm excited.
Division's kind of got some pictures going around, but 185 is a real who's who of who's going to be up next. I mean, even DDP,
Yeah.
people are
Yeah.
kind of questioning where he's going to go next.
I think I think that like some of the other divisions, it seems like no one is really going to be the guy to beat the champion. Like I think at least flyweight we have Joshua Van versus Pantoja to look forward to, and I want Joshua Van to win that. I like Joshua Van. I could see him pulling that off. Bantamweight, I feel like is very frozen out of like, Marab's just the GOAT. No one can beat this guy. We'll see who can like pull it off somehow. With middleweight though, I think this is one of the most entertaining divisions. Like I know that people are mad that Hamza is the champion now and not Dricus. Like it was definitely more exciting with Dricus as the champion because he's so like scrappy and he just gets in your face and he has super
Can
entertaining
drop
fights.
piano and just
Yeah,
falls
like
down on you.
he's got all of that shit. He's got plot armor. He's gaslighting him. He's making him cry. Like we love Dricus, okay, but
We love Dricus.
I think still this is like a very entertaining weight class. Like I think any way you slice it, it's like probably the least exciting title fight is a Mavov versus Chimaev, even though it needs to happen. I could not care less about Imavov fighting for the belt. I know that I'm not trying to be a hater. Like, I just think in terms of the name value, like Imavov versus Chimaev doesn't excite me at all. RDR versus Chimaev, that's entertaining to me. Hernandez versus Chimaev, that's entertaining to me. Those are fights that I could see being like, ooh, what's going to happen? I could see people being convinced, like, maybe Hernandez is the guy to do it. I think if anybody can do it, I think it's Anthony Hernandez. I'm not just trying to glaze because I've been a fan of him for ages. I genuinely think that he will be the type of guy that's willing to get in Chimaev's face, scramble with him, scrap with him, even just on bottom, just be elbowing him in the face, like punching backwards, trying to get a scramble going, trying to get rolls going. If he gets in the positions that Dricus was getting into at the end of that fight, I could see him finishing Chimaev. Like I think if anybody can do it, it's him.
It was one of those fights with Chimaev and DDP where I was watching it and I didn't get to watch it live because I was actually commentating the event, but then afterwards kind of got to see those those concluding rounds.
Yeah.
Swear I was not trying to flex that.
Oh.
But just kind of just speaking a little bit about that fight in general, I feel like Chimaev, I know he quote unquote dominated that fight, whatever, but I really do feel like the positions when DDP was getting out of him, like how you
Mm.
stated, if you get another grappler that is a little bit more down to kind of mix it up on the feet, is willing to kind of pressure in with his own takedowns and with his own kind of grappling attack, because I really don't feel that DDP was threatening anything on the
I think
ground that would
DDP's
have
like
made
just the
Chimaev.
guillotine. Yeah, like DDP's best weapon, like in the grappling, is his guillotine. But he was using it so just immediate, like he just immediately would go to it, and he
Yes.
wouldn't worry about his legs, and he was just getting put in side control so much, and just you don't really see that in high level MMA. You don't really see people getting held down in side control and like crucifixed. And I think that was just a sign of like, listen, bro, like you had a good attempt on the guillotine, but it's just not enough. Like I think you need to be genuinely, I'm going to grapple with this guy. I'm not just trying to, oh man, I hope I tap him with this guillotine or he'll roll over and then I can start beating him up. I think if you're genuinely like an Anthony Hernandez that has a way better guillotine game, that has the DAS chokes on the front, like I think even someone like Anthony Hernandez or Rainier Derrida that will spin around and take the back like immediately. That's their first choice because they're more of a jiu-jitsu guy. I think that is more interesting to see than someone like, oh, can he stuff the takedowns? I don't think anyone's stuffing the takedowns. That's just, yeah.
And that's something I feel a lot of fans maybe don't really look at when it comes to the terms of mixed martial arts, because they look, oh yeah, well, he can stop the takedowns from Chimaev or
Yeah.
whatever, but it's like, okay,
No.
that's a big if though. Like, you know what I'm
No
saying?
one
We're
can. I
talking
don't.
big
No
if,
one can. Like
big
even Usman, he's the best defensive wrestler, one of the best in UFC history. He couldn't stop it. He could stop some, but he couldn't stop it. He still got taken down every round. I just think it's
No,
like
it's
a
a very
lost
good
cause to
point.
try and defend the takedowns. Like it's just, yeah,
I mean, he obviously took that fight very, he took that fight on very, very short notice, but
yeah,
still, like how you stated, one of the best defensively sound wrestlers we have seen, and
yeah, bro.
he's gotten to work with some of the best. I mean, Rashad Evans, and in terms of the UFC history, he's really gotten to work with a lot of the best fighters of all time. And
Yeah,
if Usman is having trouble with Chimaev, I mean, I
bro.
don't know what guy is going to be able to kind of break that code. But I know you're a valuable man. You got a lot of things going on, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. Couple of last questions here for you. We're over here kind of in this last quarter of the UFC going into the Paramount deal. How do you feel with this Paramount deal the UFC is going to evolve? Is it going to evolve? Are we going to see kind of a bump up in fighter pay? I know that's something that a lot of fighters obviously care about, a lot of things
Mm.
that a lot of the fans care about because it then relates better to a better product. Is that something that you foresee the UFC kind of going more down, especially with this Paramount deal and with kind of the overall, I mean, I would say generalization of the sport into regular day society, man? It feels like
Yeah.
I'm seeing UFC everywhere nowadays.
I agree. I think it will be good for the sport. I'm pretty optimistic about it. I feel like just on a surface level, we're gonna get really good cards to start next year. I feel like everyone can see that. January we're getting Ilya Taporia. I wouldn't be surprised. Like February, March, we get Max Holloway, Alex Pereira, Israel Adesanya, like all these Sean O'Malley. We're getting all the names stacked on these cards. Paddy Pimblett, like every big name they can get to stack these first like 4 or 5 pay-per-views of the year. I think 2026 has potential to be like one of the best UFC years in ages. Like we all remember 2016, how goated that was. 2017, 2018, like these were like the prime of the UFC. Even 2020, I feel like with the Fight Island and all that stuff, like that period was good. And then we kind of dropped off a little bit. I would say after 2022, 2023, 2024 was like a little bit of a down year. But even then, like there were still highlights. So I think when the UFC wants to put in effort and they have an incentive to make things better, they are one of the best sports promotions in terms of giving the fans what they ask for. Like people hate like UFC, I get it. There's a lot of things I don't like. Fighter pay is one of the biggest things that I think is really, really like disagreeable. Like I think that people just sweep it under the rug, but it's like genuinely when you look at how other sports pay their athletes versus the UFC, and you look at what the UFC gets out of their athletes, they're completely reliant on the company, and they get paid like a fraction of what other athletes that can do whatever they want get paid. And I think it's just so disappointing because I think the UFC has one of the best products in sports. I think like MMA as a sport is so entertaining compared to fucking boxing or even I love NBA, but I can sit down and watch prelim randoms fight. If I'm watching a full NBA game, I feel like I've wasted my entire day. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Watching these role players play. You know what I mean? So I think there's a big discrepancy in that, but the card quality will get better. I think like viewership will increase. And I hope that means that fighter pay will increase. Like, I'm not saying pay them like $1 million to fight, but fuck, man, just take care of them, bro. That's all we want. That's all the fans want. I'm sure that's all the fighters want. But yeah, otherwise, I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be cool.
You mentioned you were a little bit of a jiu-jitsu nerd, and I mean, with your Australian roots, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up CJI too. What were your
Oh,
kind of thoughts on? I mean, the overall, I feel like these type of events for jiu-jitsu are really good in terms
mm,
of the overarching, getting people to know mixed martial arts better as a sport. Because a lot of these, I mean, CJI, UFC, BJJ, they're kind of utilizing those MMA kind of rule sets with the times and with overall just a lot of the attacks that a lot of are very much popular in no gi they're often very popular in MMA. So it kind of has that same translation. What were your thoughts on CJI too? And overall, just I mean, we've seen jiu-jitsu just growing so big in terms of UFC, BJJ, CJI, and even ADCC is growing even larger than ever
yeah.
before. So what are your kind of thoughts on this whole scene?
I think it's interesting. Like, I don't know. I enjoyed CJI 1. CJI 1 was really, really cool. And I felt like watching that, I was like, wow, like they've actually made BJJ entertaining to watch. Cause I'm not gonna hold you, bro. I don't like watching jujitsu. I'm not one of these guys that I've been training jujitsu for like 6 years. I'm a purple belt. Like I'm supposed to be really invested in all this. I don't watch like instructionals. I don't watch jujitsu because I find it so boring. I watch
You're not
MMA. I
telling me you
watch
don't pay
grappling.
175 for Gordon
No,
Ryan instructional, dude?
no, bro. I don't keep up with the jiu-jitsu scene, But CJI intrigued me, and CJI 2 as well intrigued me. And I think that the first one was definitely more entertaining just based on that tournament, in the pit, the wrestling, and just it felt so like different from every other jiu-jitsu product. I feel like CJI 2, because it had the quintet rules. I enjoy quintet. Like I remember the UFC versus Pride versus Strikeforce versus WEC one. That one was really cool. But I think that what they can take away from this is like people do want to watch jujitsu now. People do want to keep up with the sport, but I think the one-on-one tournament bracket type thing is definitely the way to go moving forward. I feel bad for Craig Jones because he had to do a lot of like heavy lifting for this CJI 2. Gable Stevenson completely just fucked him, like just pulling out with like a fake injury to go fight in the LFA. So I feel for him in that regard, but like the things that they did well, the kits from Street X were actually sick. I'm not just glazing because I've worked with them. Like they were actually sick. Those ones are super cool. I think the wrestling being like rewarded, like you're not just rewarded for just stalling out rounds. We want you to get finishes. We want you to do exciting shit. That's cool, but I think they should go back to the single like 1v1 tournament match. I think that is the way to go moving forward. But otherwise, like, yeah, it was pretty cool. I think they have something that can make jiu-jitsu interesting. As for the UFC BJJ, oh my god, man. Mikey Musumeci, I just can't stand watching Mikey Musumeci. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I'm never going to pretend that I'm like, dude, Mikey Musumeci, man. I can't do it, bro. I can't do it. Sorry.
If they are to get some more kind of entertaining prospects, though, would that be something you're a little bit interested in, like compared to a CJI? Because they are following along with that one-on-one kind of matchup rule set
Yeah.
that you were pertaining to that you think fans would be more popular to. Do you think that if they are to kind of get some more guys in that scene, that you would possibly be interested a little bit more in UFC
I don't
BJJs or
think it's
just Mikey
necessarily
Musumeci?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily the guys because they do have high level guys like Musumeci's like very talented. I'm not saying he's not
Mason
talented. Like,
Fowler's over there.
yeah, they have Fowler, they have Tackett, right? Like they have good guys, but I think the tournament is what makes it so entertaining. I think people will sit down and watch a 1 day or 2 day tournament and be like invested. Like they'll pick their people, they'll root for underdogs. Like I think if you're gonna do something like that, I don't think a UFC BJJ every single month people are not going to keep up like, oh my god, this guy's got 3 title defense, he's the GOAT. I just don't think it has the same appeal as MMA. I think you do like a once a year, this is better than ADCC. We've got like these crazy kits, we've got these fun super fights in between, and we've got the tournament. Like you pick your guys, you root for them. I think that is the way to go. I don't think UFC BJJ like as a monthly thing, they're going to keep putting money into it, but for me personally, as someone that is part of jiu-jitsu and trains jiu-jitsu, and I know a lot of people that are super into it, I don't see that taking on this casual fan base of like, yeah, dude, this is sick. This guy's the GOAT. I just don't see that working out long term.
I'm very much in agreement with you on that. I think that the tournament mindset overall in jiu-jitsu and just in Muay Thai, I feel like it just
Yeah.
has so much of a deeper root compared to MMA. I mean,
Yeah.
MMA really only has Pride and maybe some Pancrase where the tournaments are really super prevalent. But in terms of UFC, I mean, I get it started with the tournament, but the
Yeah.
real big, you know, introducing of the sport into modern day society was through the one-on-one matchups, was through the championships, was
Yeah.
through kind of this boxing-esque style. So I do
Yeah,
find
it
that very
works for
interesting.
MMA. I just think for jiu-jitsu, it's just like I don't think it translates the same. It's not the same visceral thing of like
100%.
this guy could get knocked out and lose his belt. You know what I mean? This guy's the GOAT. I just don't think it translates to I think jiu-jitsu, like you said, works better with a tournament. I agree.
No, and that's a very interesting way to look at it, and a very interesting way to go ahead and kind of end off this call over here. Is there anything that you really want to end off the call with, though, my guy? I mean, Bedtime MMA almost at 100K over there for the
Man.
YouTube channel. Obviously, been growing the Instagram. Anything that you kind of want to end off the call with today, though?
No, not really, man. JDM by fucking TKO. That's all I gotta say. JDM by TKO. Mark my words. Now JDM by decision, I think, is my thing. But no, man, I really appreciate you having me, man.
The
I know
fence
I
it,
said
the
before
true fence it.
no, I'm picking JDM. I'm just saying my pick is actually by decision. But nah, dude, I appreciate you having me on. I know I said I'm gonna switch up, but I'll try not to switch up on anybody. I appreciate all the support, like genuinely. And yeah, man, I'm happy to come talk to you whenever you want, man. This is super cool, bro. When you were like, all right, we're gonna wrap it up, I was like, oh damn, all right, man.
Nah,
But yeah.
man. Hey, we'll get a little bit of chatting off camera, man. So
Yeah,
it'll be
man.
all good. But hey, always a pleasure to go ahead and have you on the program, man.
Thank
Bedtime
you, bro.
MMA, MLH Media, signing out over there. Make sure to go ahead and tune into his watch along kind of commentary alongside MMA guru Lucas
Yes,
Tracy
bro.
over there for the
18th
UFC
of
boot
October.
camp. Make sure to
18th of
tune
October,
in, man.
brother. We're gonna be there. We're gonna smash these guys.
Let's go, yo.